Today on the American Land Seller, we are joined by Jennifer Tjaden from Rural First. It's a branch of Farm Credit Services, and Jennifer is very creative when it comes to financing for country living. That's kind of what she does. Whatever rural life you envision, she can maybe make it happen for you. So Rural First can finance every phase of your move, from buying land and constructing your home to expanding, adding outbuildings, and making improvements. They're here to help you for the long haul. They tailor their lending options. Their custom financing meet the specific needs of rural property purchases and construction projects. She has a deep understanding of rural financing and has been a really awesome partner for me over the years with some not only construction stuff in rural Nebraska, but also with some of my recreational property buyers. So we are excited to have Jennifer here today, and we hope, as always, that you take something away. Hello, everyone. My name is Koby Rickardson, and welcome to the American Land Seller Podcast. We are so excited you decided to join us today on our journey to discover new and interesting things about everything land, from sales, investments, ownership, regulations, and so much more. Our mission is to connect you to the top folks in the country where it has to do with land, so we can learn more about everything from agriculture to land development.
Okay, Koby and our special guests, let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the American Land Seller Podcast. This is episode 8, and we've taken a break for a couple weeks because we were dealing with the National Land Conference, which was a great time. Got to see a whole bunch of amazing land sellers out there and get some great knowledge. But we are here today with Jen Tjaden. Sorry, I don't know where I got Den, but Jen Tjaden from Rural First. And Jen, how are you today?
I am great. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I know you and I have worked on several projects together, and it's not always easy, but it's usually good by the time it's all said and done. I don't think we've had anything that's failed yet.
That's good. That's a good thing that we haven't had anything fail.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What got you into to being a mortgage lender?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Perkins County. I have been in the consumer lending officer position for 3 years now with Farm Credit Services of America. And they partnered with Farm Credit Mid-America to come up with Rural First, which we are specializing in getting people back to their roots in rural lending.
Very good. That's kind of cool. So you grew up in like the Imperial area then?
Madrid is my hometown.
Madrid. Okay. Well, I actually sold a house in Madrid, so I'm familiar with that. I grew up in Wallace, Dickens area, so not too far away from there. Yeah. So that's a long time ago.
Gotta love the small town.
Yep. That's the epitome of small, I think, is Dickens. Like we shut that. It's funny. I was just going through Wallace the other day, and when I went to school there, they had this like building on the outside of the actual schools, like an office or a mobile home type of looking building, and that's no longer there. So officially, none of the schools that I attended, K through 12, are in existence anymore. So, so tell me a little bit about what Rural First is all about. How did that get started?
We saw a need that people wanted to get back to their roots, that they wanted to live in those rural areas. And that's what we're trying to do, is service, becoming the leading lender, specializing in financing the rural lifestyle.
Okay. And so, but you guys can do some stuff that traditional lenders can't really do. You've got some programs that are very unique just to Rural First, correct?
Absolutely. So we classify rural as anything less than 2,500 population or outside of city limits. And the big thing that I think surprises a lot of people that they come with farm credit, you don't need farm income to proceed with a home loan with us.
Right. And so it's not just, that's not just like, hey, let's both go buy 20 acres and build a house on it. This is actually like in Madrid or in Imperial. So you can do some construction stuff. Absolutely. And also lend on current homes, correct?
We do any primary dwelling, that being stick-built, modular, manufactured, log homes, barndominiums, house. We also do rec ag land, lot loans if you're ready to build but want to buy that land first. Our construction loans, and we also do second and vacation homes.
Wow. And so you're actually, though, like I think we maybe covered this, but I can't remember. You're actually a division of Farm Credit then, or are you just a standalone now all by yourselves?
We are a division of Farm Credit Services. So our partner, Farm Credit Mid-America in Kentucky, we found the need for rural living. So that's when we partnered together to become Rural First.
Okay, very cool. So like, let's just start with, I've got a client, they want to build, they're going to retire, move from the city. They're going to move out to Calamus Lake. Okay. And so we buy a lot, and so take me through how that looks. Like if we buy a lot, am I correct in remembering that we have a certain amount of time that we need to start construction on some of your projects?
So if you're just purchasing the lot, there is no construction timeline on when you need to proceed with the construction. But if we are into a full-blown construction loan, once we close, and our construction loans are unique because we close one time, there's no need to, close the loan after the construction, do the appraisal. We are absolutely closing up front on a fixed loan, and you have 12 months to complete that construction process.
Oh, wow. So we're not just holding out there collecting interest on a operating note, essentially, and then paying that interest off. We're actually starting our new mortgage, correct?
Absolutely. From day one, you're starting your new mortgage. And then once the construction is complete, it rolls right into a mortgage. There's no need to do an appraisal or any more fees associated with it. We're just going directly into a mortgage.
Well, that's super cool. I know, like, and then that's also, like, just to clarify, that doesn't have to be, a parcel out in the country. That can be, if you're going to, raise a lot in a town that's under what I think 2,500, correct?
2,500, yes, correct.
Yeah, so that's a very good tool to have. I know, like, I've talked to some lenders that are familiar with like programs that like FHA have of like remodeling and things like that. They're really tough to get pulled off. You can't really do any of the work yourself. I would imagine that's kind of similar on this, that we really don't want to have somebody that does, like half the work themselves.
We can. We do like to see a general contractor, but if the customer is qualified in construction, they can absolutely use themselves to finish the project.
Oh, really?
The customer has an option to pick whatever contractor they would like to use.
Okay, because I know, like with that FSA, I can't even remember what it is, 203 or whatever, the program that they have, that like you pretty much have to have everybody picked on who you're going to use and qualified with FSA and all that. So it sounds like this is a lot better deal. If you're not in, like, I guess North Platte, I guess. But so
yeah, we like to give those customers the freedom of feeling who they're comfortable with to use. We also, we like to work with them on that because this is their future home. So we like to make them included as much as they are.
Right. So just like going back to that. So what do I bring to you if I'm wanting to do a project like this? So I'm, like I think we had one where we cut 30-40 acre pasture in half, and you ended up working with both of the buyers on that project in Dawson County. One of them brought a house in, the other one built the house. Is that like we can buy the land and then do we have to give you an idea of like schematics or design, or how does that work?
So when we're in a construction loan, we like to do the appraisal as it will be. So we need all of the invoices, contracts, everybody that you're using, and then also all the bids and specs for that, so that we can do that appraisal off of that. So you know exactly what that customer's house is going to be worth when we appraise it.
Okay. What do we take into consideration anything on like we might have to change something? I know how construction works, where if I have to change one outlet in the place, the contractor can kind of throw everything out the window.
We do a lot of changes in construction, but we work with that customer to make sure that we're still on budget. If anything goes, over, we're willing to do add-on loans for them, because obviously the cost of construction is up and down right now. But through it all, we really try to work with that customer and do the best we can for them.
That's really neat. It's a really neat program, and I don't think a lot of people are educated on it. I just think that, and it's not that old, is it? It's fairly new, like in the last 10 years or so.
We started Rural First in 2019. Oh, wow. July 2000.
Wow, right before COVID. So that's a good time to start, huh?
Yes.
All right, Jen. Well, this is a good time to take a break. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we will be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by RE/MAX Home Farm and Ranch. RE/MAX Home Farm and Ranch is the premier marketing and selling real estate company in Nebraska and South Dakota. You can find all the great RE/MAX agents and their listings at homefarmranch.com. That's homefarmranch.com. You can look up and see what they're up to and follow along on all the things that they have going on. Once again, this episode is brought to you by RE/MAX Home Farm and Ranch, and you can find their listings and their agents at homefarmranch.com. Once again, homefarmranch.com. Hey, welcome back. We are here with Jen Tjaden from Rural First out of Imperial, Nebraska. And first off, Jen, you're from Imperial, but you cover quite a bit of the state of Nebraska, correct?
Absolutely. We have a Rural First consumer lending officer throughout the state. I personally cover 26 counties plus 5 main farm credit offices.
Oh, wow. So that's quite a bit of territory. Hopefully you don't have to go to every single closing, correct? You can just
We do not. We use a title company for our closing.
Well, you never know. Some of those guys insist on being there. So
yeah.
So that's cool. So let's just talk a little bit about like what makes you different from, let's say, Rocket Mortgage. What can you do that a traditional lender really can't do?
So we can lend on those bigger properties, anything over 5 acres, W-2 income earners, farm income. We have a full-time farm underwriting team that understands that income and what the farmers go through. We have competitive long-term rates, 30-year, anywhere from a 10 to a 30-year. We also offer the variable. We are all dedicated in our position. We, meet with you. We understand the stress that comes with buying a house, and we absolutely want to work with you through that.
Yeah, not only buying a house, but building one as well, correct?
That's a whole different ballgame of stress.
That's a new kind of stress. Mm-hmm. So you can do, you can do some stuff too on like some, if it's going to be a primary residence, there's some lower down payment stuff that you can do, but primarily you're going to be, 15 to 20% down, correct? We're not looking at like a FHA loan or something like that.
We require 15% down on most of our loans, especially if it's a primary dwelling. We also, one of the great features are we looking for a partner for life with this loan? So we never sell that off. We service it for the life of the term. And I think, I mean,
And so you,
that's a unique.
yeah, that's absolutely unique. So if somebody has an issue with something, they can contact you directly or your team and work through anything that might be any problems or any hiccups that might come about.
Absolutely. We have a dedicated customer care team that will take care of everything after the loan closes. If they do have problems, they can reach out to me, but that customer care team is the best route to go.
Perfect. Yeah, that's really, really cool. So, on that 15, if we have less than 20% down, are we looking at some mortgage insurance with that, or is that
We do not
that's
require
foreign
mortgage
to you
insurance.
guys?
We do not
Oh,
require
really?
that at all. Nope, just 15% down, your closing costs. And then we do ask that you have 6 months reserves in either checking or savings at the time of closing, just as a safety net.
Okay, very cool. So let's see. We've kind of talked about how you're different from everybody, but I know that you've got like a ton of different. Like when I asked you to send me some stuff because I was going to an expo one time, you sent me like 6 different or more than that, maybe even different programs that you have. Take us on a tour of like what the programs are. I know that you've got like let's wait till the last segment to talk about the recreational stuff, but like I know that you've got some different packages. So kind of just tell us what is available and what's the application process look like?
Sure. So we have a purchase or a refinance of a primary dwelling. That can be modular, stick built, log homes, barn dominiums, houses, whatever you want to look at, we can work around that. We have our rec ag hunting our lot loans. So if you're not ready to build, but you find a piece of ground that you want, we offer just a lot loan that you can go out and get a fixed rate on. I know that's really rare in our business, but we can go out and do a lot loan and get a fixed rate for you. We also do home
Fixed rate on a
equity.
lot loan, that is pretty phenomenal.
We also do home equity and line of credits for the home. We also offer, additional collateral in additional primary dwellings, houses, and we can also take ag land as collateral.
That's phenomenal. So if I'm going to do a project on my, like, let's say I have a homestead and I'm going to build a, 150 by 80 shop, that's something that I could come to you and say maybe refinance or something like that.
Yes, we can absolutely do a refinance and get you the cash or the loan to get you that shop. And if you don't want to put your house up as collateral, we can absolutely take a piece of pasture ground, rec ag land. As long as that's free of liens, we can take that as collateral.
Very cool. No, that's good to know.
We have a
So
lot
like
of different ways around of working with you, and I don't like being told no, so I like to work with the customer to see what's best, what works best for them.
Yep. So I know like sometimes just because of the amount of dollars that we're dealing with and the uniqueness of properties, it can get a little bit complicated going through the process of working the loans through. What do you say like is an average close time? So if I'm writing a contract today, how much should I should I consider like 90 days or what's that look like to you guys?
Sure. I like to say that I can close a loan 30 to 45 days from when I first talk to the customer. We offer a pre-qualification worksheet when I first start talking to a customer that takes me about 20 minutes to upload to see if we can get them pre-approved. We then do all of our application online where you can upload everything that you need, tax returns, bank statements, those type of things. And then we move right into the underwriting and we let the customer do all of that online. So it's a pretty seamless transition all the way through. We also have a team in Louisville that helps out and will pick up the loan and ask if there's anything needed of the customer.
Okay, so you got a team working on it, so it's not, they may have other people reaching out to them through the process.
Absolutely. And when I meet with that customer, I make sure that let them know that everybody that will be handling the loan, there's me and my assistant, and then we also have a closing team in Louisville too that will reach out when the loan's ready to go to closing.
Well, very nice. So let me just get this straight, because I'm a slow kid sometimes. I'm going to apply. I can contact you. I can say, hey, Jennifer, we're looking at this project. You can kind of, off of what I tell you, you can say, Koby, this is a green light for me, or man, with what you're looking at doing, I'm not real interested in that one. And then you can say, give me some basic information for the pre-qual. If I get pre-qualified, then I go start the rigorous process of, and that's not just you, that's every loan, of giving you every piece of paper in my glove box, my desk, and underneath my bed, and some of the stuff I don't even have in those places.
Birth certificate, yeah, that too. Yeah. So I just really like to be upfront with my customers and let them know the process. I know it's a little different than our retail side, and it takes a little bit longer, but in the long end of it, it works out better for both of us if the communication lines are open and we can just work through it.
Right. Well, and that's, I think, it doesn't matter whether it's you or anybody else. The communication in this whole process is extremely important. And so,
yes, it is.
I've dealt with some .com lenders that are pretty much, it's hard to track them down, and so it's good to know that there's somebody local. I always tell people when I'm referring out lenders and stuff, my thing is, you really want to be able to go find that person's office in case you have to bring a baseball bat in to discuss what's going on. So. But anyway,
baseball bats, but it happens.
Well, I just think if you're in Detroit and dealing with somebody in Nebraska, then you maybe have a little bit saucier attitude than if you're in Nebraska and I'm 20 miles away or something. So
exactly.
But, this is a great time to take another break. Jennifer, it's not been too painful so far, has it?
No. Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's keep going.
All right. So you're good for 10 more minutes or so. Talk about some recreational property
I am.
And how we get our hunters hooked up. All right, great. Well, everybody, stand by. We will be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Remax Home Farm and Ranch. Remax Home Farm and Ranch is the premier marketing and selling real estate company in Nebraska and South Dakota. You can find all the great Remax agents and their listings at homefarmranch.com. That's homefarmranch.com. You can look up and see what they're up to and follow along on all the things that they have going on. Once again, this episode is brought to you by Remax Home Farm and Ranch, and you can find their listings and their agents at homefarmranch.com. Once again, homefarmranch.com. Hey, welcome back to the American Land Seller Podcast on our 8th episode. So lucky 8. And this is going out on St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day, Jen.
Happy St. Patty's Day to yourself.
I know. I got my, I don't know if you know this or not, but I got my accredited land consultant designation at the National Land Conference this year. So
congrats.
So I'm wearing my green on my head today with my with the hat that they gave me when I got my pen. So, and that was a fun deal to do. 104 hours of class hours on just land specific stuff, land sales, land all kinds of land education, and then I had to sell over $10 million in land-related real estate before they would even accept my packet, and then you put a big packet together. So,
wow.
So that was a fun deal, and I'm glad it's over. Now I can say I have accomplished that. But so I deal that's kind of how we met was because I had a client that was looking at a recreational property, and I kind of did my due diligence, my research, and to try and find him a good deal on a lender. And voila, here's Jen. And so let's talk just a little bit about that recreational property stuff and how that works. I know you've got some options for people if they don't want a house on it and never are going to have a house, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right. So we obviously realize that in Nebraska there are properties that people want just for recreation, whether that be hunting, fishing, or just riding their ATVs. And
Sure.
we have an option of as low as a 15% down payment. And that can either be on a lot loan that you want to build later on or a piece of rec ag land, like what we're talking about. There is no limitation to the acres that you have to buy with that, so it's pretty wide open. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to ask, and I guess I didn't really mean to interrupt, but I was just going to ask, like, is there... Like if I'm looking at a piece of property, you said there's no limit to the acres, but there is kind of a limitation on we have to have so much of it, don't we? That or at least a part of it that's recreation only, or is that not true?
No, as long as there's not a home on the rec ag land. Like you said, there's no limitation on acreages. It could be 5, 10, 200 if you wanted. It's just mainly purpose driven on what you're planning on to do with that. If your intent is to be a rec ag and never build a home on that, then we would throw it through that product of ours.
Okay, very cool. But we're talking about this. There's got to be a recreational component to it, correct? We can't just be like, I want to go... if I'm going to go buy like a quarter of farm ground, center pivot irrigated, that's a different program of Farm Credit, correct?
Yes, it is. That would go to our retail office then. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
This would just be your main intent. You don't want to farm on it. You don't want to build on it. You want to put up some blinds. If it's a river ground, fish, ride ATVs, that type of thing.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this or not, but and I kind of say this on here, but I think I'm right. Nobody's ever called in after the podcast and said I'm wrong, but the Cabela brothers actually were the ones that back when they had their signature properties, they were the ones that kind of started the whole rec land movement. It's a fairly new movement.
Yes.
So it's kind of cool that we have you guys jumping right on there and saying, hey, we know there's a need for funding on these type of projects and going forward with this unique, it's extremely unique package that you have.
Another unique package we have is called our non-ATR loans. So it would fall into the lot or the rec ag. If that property you're purchasing is under $200,000, we can close those more than likely in 2 weeks. We just use stated income for that, and it goes through very quickly.
And that's under 200,000?
Under 200,000, yep.
Okay, well, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we were talking about at break that I had totally forgotten about was that you guys have a way that we can adjust interest rates throughout the life of the loan fairly easily, correct?
Correct. Since we're partners with you for the life of the loan, we have a rate conversion program that every 12 months, if the rates do drop, for a flat $500 fee, you call in. There's no other fees than the $500. You don't have to do an appraisal, give me tax returns, none of that. $500, we get you in a lower rate.
Okay. Well, that seems like I'd be maybe changing my rate a lot. Is there a limit on how many times I can do it?
Unlimited.
Well,
Every 12 months you're eligible
bucks.
for it. Yep.
Wow, there we go. So, do you, I know that's something I'm going to have to put on my CRM to remind people that, hey, have you checked your rate with Jen lately?
Mm-hmm.
So, we kind of do that, especially when we get interest rates that kind of go up in where we're at now, that we put that in there to call and remind our clients, hey, when it goes down through 2 or 3 points, we call them and say, hey, have you talked to your lender to see if maybe it's a good idea to refinance? But man, that's an awesome program where you just pay $500 and you can drop the rate. So,
And if you're fighting between a lower rate and ours, that $500 is huge just because you don't have to pay the refinancing, the title, the appraisal. You're looking at maybe 4,000 to 5,000 if you have to refinance. With us, once a year, it's 500.
Yeah. No, that's a game changer. And I think, you made the comment that you didn't think anybody else was doing it. I don't know of anybody else that's doing that. So
I don't believe so either.
that's
I mean, it's really quite the offer for our customers.
right. So, no, but, so, Jen, like, what was your favorite project you worked on? Like, what was the one that you were like, this is, I don't think I'll ever see this again.
I think it was probably the one that we just worked on together. That
You and me both.
it was a second property that had farm income, and there was just a lot of components to it that we had to work through. And I think I enjoy the ones that challenge me the most, that I can get through, that I knew this customer really wanted this property and it was gorgeous, and it was just really fulfilling for me to help him out and get him in this property.
Yeah, Ducks Unlimited property with a conservation easement in Nebraska, which is like basically saying that you just don't care about money anymore. Like I don't, like the conservation easements are great, because but in Nebraska, like you don't gain on a sale of it, and so like out in Colorado, you can take a conservation easement and you can take those credits from that and sell them, so I can take what I need, and if I get a $3 million gain on it and I only need 400,000 of that gain, you can go sell off the remaining 2,600,000 for cash. Like people will give you money for it. But Nebraska, nope, they don't like to help us out with those. So, but that particular part of the country, there's a lot of those. That like almost that whole area is conservation easements. So, but that was a beautiful property. So you'll have to go out there and take a look at it sometime because it is just breathtaking. So, what else do we need to know about Jen or about Rural First today as we kind of wind things down? What did I forget to ask you about? I know I'm pretty grueling, but
It's been painful. Kidding. I think we hit on most of anything. I just want people to know that if you have any questions, I am a firm believer that if you don't ask, you won't know. So call me up. Call me. We can walk through it. We can walk through your scenario. If it's not correct for you now, I would be happy to coach you on how we could possibly look at it, farther down the road.
Well, and that's one thing I absolutely love about you, Jen. You may not, like I may bark at you a little bit because I'm kind of a client first guy and I'm trying to get my stuff through and I want just the, I may not like your answer that day, but you're very transparent. You're straightforward. I'm not trying to track you down. If there's bad news, you're calling me. And again, it's let's take a breath for a second there, Rickardson, and get yourself, let's figure out what's best for your client, and I think that being able to say, we may not be able to do the whole thing, and like we're doing that right now with another client, is can't do the whole thing with the loan we wanted to do it with, but we can maybe take the farm ground off of the house part and work on two different ways, one with the ag team, one with you, and so it's just been absolutely wonderful working with you. And this is, I guess, the most challenging question I've been asking lately, so I hope you studied up for it. How can folks get a hold of you, Jen?
Sure. My cell phone number is 308-353-0946, or you can contact North Platte, McCook, Imperial office, Farm Credit Services office, and they'll be able to get a hold of you. Or you can go out to ruralfirst.com, and they have a little more information about me on there, and I'd be happy to help anybody that has any questions.
But kind of pretty much anything, what are we thinking? Like Lexington area, north and south, all the way to the west? Is that kind of your area?
Kearney,
north and south?
Yep, Kearney west, up until where the panhandle, starts. That's all mine.
Okay. But you can get some, if they get a hold of you, you can get somebody in touch with who they
Absolutely.
need to talk to.
Yep, any place in Nebraska, I can find somebody to help you out if it's not in my territory.
Awesome. So 308-353-0946, and that is Jennifer Tjaden, that's with a T, Tjaden, at fcsamerica.com. So for those of us that email quite a few of the Farm Credit guys, that's a pretty familiar email. But appreciate your time today, Jennifer. It's been a lot of fun. I've always, as always, every time I talk to you, I learn something new. And I look forward to getting this next deal we got going on closed and
Me too.
On to the next one. So
I appreciate your referrals and having me on today.
Yep, and that goes both ways. If you need me to take care of somebody, I'm happy to work with anybody on some land or on what you do. So that's it for today, and we hope everybody got something out of this as always. And we will see you all down the road. You have been listening to the American Land Seller Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this week for our program. And we promise to continue to try and find new, exciting, and informative things to discuss every single time. If you would be so kind, please like, subscribe, or follow whatever works on the app you're listening or watching on. We would love for you to keep track of what we're up to. Thanks again, and until next time, God bless you. Have a great week. Today's episode is brought to you by RE/MAX Home Farm and Ranch. RE/MAX Home Farm and Ranch is the premier marketing and selling real estate company in Nebraska and South Dakota. You can find all the great RE/MAX agents and their listings at homefarmranch.com. That's homefarmranch.com. You can look up and see what they're up to and follow along on all the things that they have going on. Once again, this episode is brought to you by RE/MAX Home Farm and Ranch, and you can find their listings and their agents at homefarmranch.com. Once again, homefarmranch.com.